Hi, I'm Angelica Raquel, and I am an artist that is featured in the all-women's exhibition Kaleidoscope at Hooks-Epstein Gallery. I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about my 3 pieces that are in the show, which include 1 fiber artwork and 2 copper-tooled milagros. So my fiber piece, Sister's Curse, is an homage to my grandmother, my mom's mother, and a story that she told us growing up. A little bit about my process and my inspiration for my work. I am primarily a storyteller, and this is because I grew up hearing stories, ghost stories, folklore, leyendas from my hometown, where I was born and raised in Laredo, Texas. And Laredo, Texas is located on the border to Mexico, and I grew up with a very big family, lots of cousins, lots of tias and tios on both sides, and so a big ritual that we loved to do was tell ghost stories around a fire, especially at night when it was nice and spooky, and this was how we bonded and how we shared stories that were passed on from generation to generation. This is something that I adored growing up, and I would share with my friends in sleepovers and stuff, and sort of disappeared as I left Laredo and I pursued higher education in Central Texas. But now, as an adult and in my own art practice, I tell the same stories. I alter some stories, and I use storytelling to kind of explore dreams and anxieties and social, cultural pressures that I'm experiencing today as an adult. And so my work is very colorful. It is inspired largely by the both religious iconography as well as imagery that was constantly around me. So like bright colors, jewel tones, and lots of images like murals and Mexican artwork. I really love textile work, fiber work, and crafts in my practice. I used to be primarily just a painter, and once I discovered how to use I taught myself how to rug hook, I taught myself how to needle felt. It's kind of been like just all encompassing, and I love to explore new materials. And for me, it's kind of like telling stories in different voices in different settings. And one specific image that pops up in my work and my practice quite often is that of an owl, which is otherwise known as a lechuza. The lechuza is a Mexican legend of an owl that is either a transformation of a witch, or it is the spirit familiar of that witch. And in Spanish, this is known as a bruja. So my piece, Sister's Curse, is about this exact image, this exact spirit, a lechuza. So the lechuza in that specific artwork has one wing that's normal, another one that's a hand, so there's a little bit of communicating that this has another element to it besides it just being a beautiful, majestic owl. There is a bit of a human or spiritual presence that is commingled with it, and there are lots of clothespins around it. I also incorporate a lot of different materials, especially found materials or thrifted materials in my work, just because I love the textures. It also allows me to be a little more conscious about my art practice. And so in using the clothespins, they are actually from my bridal shower, which is kind of fun. I am repurposing them to play another role. So in Sister's Curse, I am specifically retelling a story of my grandmother when she was really young and had all of her sisters with her. It was middle of the day. They were hanging laundry on clotheslines, and the wind was blowing. It was a wonderful day until one of my grandmother's sisters started screaming out. And so they ran to her, and she was getting attacked by an owl in the middle of the day. And this owl was mauling her, scratching her face, and attacking her. And they, no matter what they did, like smacking it with a broom or like, you know, pushing it, attacking it, it wouldn't leave. It was very strong. So the only way that they knew, they had been taught to get rid of a lechuza, is to curse at it. So to actually tell it off. So they were cursing at it, like saying bad words that they weren't allowed to say. And once they cursed at it, it left. And so, all traumatized and absolutely bewildered about the experience, they went around the house to look for like why this happened. They really couldn't understand why an owl would be attacking them. And as they were walking around, they found a puddle of blood that encircled the entire house with feathers and other things that kind of mixed with it. So that alludes to someone putting a hex or targeting their family specifically. And that story always stayed with me. It was absolutely terrifying to think that someone would wish harm upon them, especially like innocent girls who at the time and the climate for women was like they could barely leave the house, and they were very it was a very you know how it was back then, very limiting towards what women can do, especially young girls. So in Sister's Curse, I am telling that story of the curse that happened to her, and through the clothespins, kind of like little snippets of what they were doing to bring upon such wrath to their household. So that's this little bit of the story behind that